each day. So we are 4 weeks into prep. I am 3 kilos down, which the first initial little drop off that you see, because when you first start prep, obviously you've been eating that amount of food for so long, and then obviously it reduces. Your kind of gut kind of just feels so much tighter. That first initial drop off is just really nice, but I do tend to find that from that I get a little bit of less stability. So movements that require quite a bit of stability, things like, for me, hack squat, my hinges, so things like RDLs, SLDLs, etc., and my presses tend to take a little bit of a hit, and then they tend to climb back up a little bit. So, well, I'm saying that, hopefully they'll climb back up a little bit. So I did find on this session that my Smith press had gotten a little bit, I just felt not comfortable. I just felt like, it's really hard to explain, and I'm sure that people that have prepped know what I mean, but you feel really airy in that, like, you get a little bit leaner and you feel like there's so much like area in like your clothes compared to how there was, and you just don't feel as like a pork chop ready to like get after it. It's a little bit more like a bit of a steak, just a bit leaner. So it just makes me feel a little bit less stable. So I feel good today. I'm ready to get into my session, hopefully see some good numbers, and I'll go through all the little bits that I do because you like that. So we'll go through all my movements, maybe some mindset things and all that sort of shenanigans. First exercise is seated Y raises. We were doing them on the floor, we kind of stalled a little bit. Lying on the floor is what I mean. So to make them a little bit different, but same, but different. I was going to do it in a little accent, but then I'd probably get cancelled from YouTube. With this, we want to focus on having your hands pretty much directly in front of your belly button to begin with. And then the movement isn't like a side lateral raise where you kind of drag it out, you kind of drag it over. That's the right way of putting it. I was trying to think of a way to explain that to my clients, they get a little bit confused, so now I know. So instead of out and around, it's almost, what did I say? It's out and over. So we want to think about driving the fists forwards and reaching out as we bring them up. And yes, we do end in a Y, but it's not a high Y, it's kind of a low Y. Shoulders forwards and out. It's a really simple movement, but it is really great. Like, I get such a good pump once I've finished this. And I always, when I first started, I was thinking, oh God, I'm going to feel like I'm getting loads in my rear delts, not loads into like my side delts, and I'm going to get loads in my traps. But if you do it right and don't go too heavy, you can, it just blows them up. So it's a good movement. You're still not in the middle. Severe pump, severe. first exercise done. My shoulders feel nice and blown up. I always like to do an isolation prior to starting my compounds on push days. I think that it's nice to start with just presses when you're first coming out of a competition prep, when you're potentially not as strong. But when you do start to build up your strength, I think it's nice to warm the shoulders up a little bit before you actually start getting to go. Potentially that is a bit of a placebo and mental thing, but I just feel way better when I go into my presses when I've done something to get myself ready into my session. It's like I couldn't ever go into a session and start with an SLDL. I'd always have to do something before because I need something to get me like ready and in the zone. Lovely jubbly. I don't know if I feel strong. Think about it. I'm not going to go 2 plates. I'm going to go 2.5 and a 1.25. So we're like 2 kilos off 2 plates, but I just want to build it up slowly again, just so that I feel confident. Let's go. Come on, Mike. And again, come on. Fast, come on. Let's go. All the way through. I reckon I could have done 2 plates there. Yeah, don't matter, next time. So, I didn't go for my 2 plates because I was being a vagina. No, I'm kidding. I just want to build it back up slowly, but that was only 2 kilos off, yeah? I reckon I could have done the 2 plates right then, but I just don't want to get ahead of myself and not hit my numbers because in a prep, that's not a time to do that. It's not a time to be smashing the weight and potentially getting 3 reps, 4 reps because you've not got the food to support that in terms of holding on to your tissues. So make sure that, not that your plate is safe to the point where you're being an absolute vagina, but plate safe to the point where you're not being stupid and getting kind of 3, 4 reps because it's not going to do anything in regards to holding on to your tissue.
Go on then, mate. Come on. Come on.
Thank you. So this is my second press. Obviously my first press is a little bit more overhead. Well, not overhead, but inclined. This is a little bit more flat-ish with a little bit of an incline. So obviously on this one, I am getting a nice little bit of upper pec, front delt, and into my tricep as well, which is Lovely. I don't know if I should have gone a little bit deeper on that. I'll be able to watch back on my video. But it felt really good, really strong, and I actually got an extra rep compared to last week. So yeah, things feel fantastic. A little bit deeper. I don't know. Yeah, maybe a tiny little bit deeper. It's always nice to watch your videos back when you're training, especially when you train on your own. I was actually having this conversation with Gaz a second ago, because when you train on your own, obviously you do want to spend a little second having a rest. So what I like to do is I do my set, then I watch my video through twice, and then I go again. And that's pretty much what I do in terms of standardising how much time I have in terms of rest. Maybe I think into it a little bit too much, but to be honest, all bodybuilders are fucked in the head, and if we want to pretend that we aren't, then at least I'm aware of it. Like, being that OCD about something's just not right, is it? Really. So yeah. Lost my train of thought completely. I added a little bit of weight there because my first set felt so good, and I managed to actually get a little bit more weight in the same reps, so I'm really happy with that. I need to be careful on this because the last time I did it, I really hurt myself. I don't know what I did, but I felt like my intercostal just went, what? Do you know what I mean? Like when you go down and you like really like tensing hard, and then you just like, oh. And then I was like walking like an old woman for a few days. Not that I didn't already. That was better. I could get myself under there a bit better. Bloody Nora. Rookie error. Not looking at the seat height. Terrible. Right, so that was exercise number 4, dips. So with this one, obviously you can sit quite upright and get a little bit more tricep, but you will always still get a little bit of front delt. Or you can lean forwards and get a little bit more front delt but still get triceps. Yeah? So you can bias something a little bit more just through your torso positioning. So I lean forwards a little bit because I want a lot more front delts. Obviously I still need a little bit of tricep and bicep, but not to the point where they're overbearing of my delts. So that's why I lean forwards a little bit. Just make sure that you're doing things that are right for you and your class and the developments that you need. Otherwise, what's the point? Especially if you're a competitor. Fair enough if you're not, but if you are a competitor, train in a way that's specific for your own needs and your own class. Once you get to a point where you've got enough density to do that. Well, we say that. If you're a bikini competitor, you literally need to train like a bikini competitor from the off. But if you're someone that wants to do figure, you need to build some density first before you get specific. Figure and beyond, that's probably even inclusive of wellness. You need to build some density first before you then get a little bit specific. last exercise is the behind body single arm lateral raise. So I used to do the crossbody behind the back side laterals, which are one of my favourite movements, but I started to find that it was stalling. So to do a like-for-like movement, Cooper just told me to do it single arm. And I really like it because you can get a really nice stretch on your delt. Sometimes when you do it to the front, you don't get that same stretch. But when I drive my hand out, I still try to keep my upper arm to the front of my body, because if I kept it all behind, you definitely would be getting like your side delt. So that's this movement. I literally think about face down towards the floor, scraping it all the way out, holding it just above level with my shoulder before repeating that process over and over again. With a side lateral, you don't need to go really heavy. If you go really heavy and you have your arms bent and you're just moving it, you're not using what you're supposed to be using. You might as well go with a weight that you can actually use to control. You might watch people that have been training for a long time that potentially train a little bit quicker, but that's because they know how to control it. Even if it is a little bit quicker, you have to learn to do it right first before you can start to get a little bit kind of quicker with it. You definitely need to build some mass first, and you're going to be able to do that through using a weight that you're actually still doing that movement. It's like if you're going like this, you're not doing the side lateral raise. You need to keep your arms straight and you need to keep driving out towards the side. You see so many of this. That's not a side raise and you're not using your delts. So, final exercise is cross body tricep push down. It's a little bit of a fiddly movement if you don't know how to do it very well. So I like to take 3 steps back from the cable. I like to keep my elbows to my body and then just wing them out to the side slightly. And then bring my forearm obviously all the way up into my bicep. Before I go, I think about creating a little bit of tension on my tricep before I start. So that almost, you squeeze it but you almost sit your elbows back a little. And then you just literally think about driving your hands out to the side without the upper arm moving anywhere. And that really just contracts hard with your tricep. And then you just rinse and repeat that movement. The only thing really that should be moving is the forearm. Do the elbows sit back a tiny little bit when you stretch? Maybe a tiny bit, but literally slight. You literally just want to focus on the forearms, and that will really isolate those triceps. So that's the end of push. Hopefully you enjoyed the session. Obviously my strength's not gone anywhere because I still have the same mass, my body weight isn't down that much. I think that everybody turns into a bit of a wet wipe when they go into a competition prep because they expect their strength to go and they almost talk themselves into the fact that their strength's going to go when that's just not what happens. I mean, yeah, if you're a natty, your strength's going to go definitely a lot earlier than someone who is assisted. You are someone that's getting lean, you are going to get a little bit weaker, especially towards the back end of a comp prep. Push is definitely going to be a session that probably gets weaker before any other session does get weaker, but you should still be getting after it, and you should still be pushing for some good numbers and definitely some good amount of reps. And it's important that mentally you're switched on, ready for that as well, because it is a lot harder in a prep because you're hungrier, you're more tired, especially towards the back end. That first part of it's like an absolute breeze there, so you should be enjoying the fact that you don't feel quite as hungry. No, quite as full. So yeah, that was my session. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you can all take a little bit from it. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to pop me a message and ask me any questions. But please like, share, subscribe. I'll be back with another session sometime soon.